Hello everyone, Samaritxn here, and today I am bringing you the beginning of our podcast series, CompCube, and with me today, and only with me today, is Reclaimer. Clay, say what's up.
What's going on?
Clay,
Fuck is up.
Clay, my friend here, is also on the road to 1K. Definitely go check him out. Link will be in the description down below to his channel, as well as his Twitch, because he streams sometimes, so go check him out for sure. But as you can tell by the title, we are talking about Halo 5 competitive in a year, which we're pretty late on, admittedly.
Hashtag no radar.
Okay, well, so we're gonna talk about just from the start to the end, and talk about things that we would like to see and things that are coming. So that's gonna be the layout for this week's podcast. Clay, we're gonna start off with, what was the first event? Freaking X Games.
Yeah. Well, first off, Halo 5 came out, and 343, with like the release of the Master Chief Collection, started taking esports a lot more seriously. Signed up with ESL and all that shit, and started running Halo tournaments and bigger prize pools and doing leagues and qualifiers and shit. Halo 5 came out and no like big team changes were made aside from like Cloud got dropped for Frosty on CLG, and then everything like right before X Games came the shitstorm with Lethal leaving EG and all that, and Lethal left like 3 days before X Games.
Before we get into that, I want to talk about. It's a little side subject, but like the cups that were held, because weren't the cups held before X Games? And it's funny because the top three teams were EG, whenever Lethal was still on it, CLG, who had Ogre 2 in place of Lethal, and we had Team Liquid, which was Ace, Chig, Ninja, and Unlegit, who now is Eco. And I forget who I was having the conversation with, but someone told me that that they think that the main reason that Liquid was so high was because of Ninja's talent and the fact that Ace picked up the AR meta faster than any other pro. What do you think about that?
Agree. Yes. Fucking that team was like weirdly dominant, and that is like a group of players where when you talk about them, you think, oh yeah, they're a pro team, they're like a top 8 team, but you don't consider them in the top 3.
And I think in the seeding for a while they were number 1, because they were competing with EG for a long time, and I think CLG was sitting at the 3rd seed for a while.
The team that we're leaving out too is Allegiance, because Allegiance actually going into X Games had the number 1 seed.
They did.
Because they won one of the qualifiers, and I think got top 2 in another one. So they had the number 1 seed, and that at the time was Nated, L-Town, Suspector, and Kratos. So
that's also another team that you look at and you go, eh.
Yeah, where you think like they wouldn't be that good, and admittedly I don't think so. They got top 2 at Worlds, which we'll talk about, but I don't think they were that good.
I think
they were certainly a good team, but like
the way that I look at Allegiance is kind of how I look at Liquid, or not Liquid, LG in this season, where it was Nated, L-Town, Denoxide, and who was the last one? Victory, and it's just like, I don't know. It just seems like any team that has Nated,
they're a pro team, but
it just seems like any team that has like Nated and L-Town they just seem
like bro.
Yeah, it just seems like a very meh team. And that's no disrespect to the players. It's just it isn't a team that has like someone who shines a lot. You know, like people talk about Nated and how
Nated has his moments.
Yeah, Nated has his moments, and we'll get to that later. But so on the online cups before the season started, ALG
EG won one.
Yeah, EG won
one.
I think
CLG won one.
I think
CLG with Ogre 2.
I think that Team Liquid won one. I think.
I don't know if they won one. I think there were only 3 before X Games.
Yeah, I think they placed top 3 or top 5 consistently, and they were able to like go against like the big teams in scrims.
Yeah.
which was very weird. So going into X Games, what teams were there? There was EG, CLG,
Uh, yeah. It took the
ALG.
top 6 from NA, and then uh, the top 2 from no, it was one from EU and then one from I think Germany. I think it was like I don't know. It was kind of weird, but that event based on seeding because everybody was like freaking out because it was only top 6 from NA and it was all based on online single elimination best of 3 qualifiers which everyone hated.
Yep.
It was best of 3 until the grand finals, which was best of 5, and it wasn't double limit all, and everybody fucking hated it because it was like honestly it's a shitty format. Like not only is it best of 3s, which by itself is horrible, but it's single elim.
Yeah.
So like if you have a bad game type, like if you have a bad game type in a best of 5 or best of 7 scenario, then you're probably cool. I'm not saying you're probably cool because that's not like a guaranteed like loss. Like okay, fuck, this is hard to explain, but it's you can get away with like winning out in your other game types is what I mean.
Yeah.
But
All right. So
anyway,
I'm
moral of
looking.
the story, shitty format.
I'm looking at the teams right now. So the teams were Evil Geniuses, Counter Logic Gaming, Team Allegiance, Renegades, Dream Team, Penta Esports, Epsilon Esports, and Team Liquid. And the way that the groups went out due to the seeding is Group A had Allegiance, Renegades, Liquid, Epsilon, and then Group B had CLG, EG, Dream Team, and Penta. So when you look at this, it's like there's always a pool of death, right? So I look at this and what would you say is the pool of death? Because I'm thinking
GG one.
But the thing is that there's no pool of death to me because there's a clear standout top 2 team. Whereas like Group A, like you have Team Allegiance, Renegades, and Liquid, which those 3 teams were very strong in the online cups.
The thing that like the match that everyone was hyped for going into it, and the thing is going into X Games, even though Allegiance had done well online, they were known as like the scummy like online kids who would fucking overuse their host or I don't know the fucking correct term, but they would shit on you with host. Yeah. And like that kind of thing. Maybe not that specifically, but it was like the equivalent of that. But so nobody gave Allegiance like a second thought. It was all about CLG and EG, and you got to remember EG at the time was still the team to beat, even though they didn't have lethal and they had to grab commonly with 3 days left. They were still the team to beat because they won every event the year prior. And so changing one player on a team is not going to make you that much of a less dominant team, which it turned out to, but that's for different reasons. So going into it, it was everybody was focused on CLG and EG. Nobody gave
also, no. People cared about Renegades and Liquid because
Renegades and Liquid was the most hype match of like the tournament aside from CLG EG.
And the reason for that is because the way that Renegades was really made was because there was a change in Team Liquid where Chig was taken out, and then Ace had to make a decision to either drop Unlegit or keep him, and Ninja leaves because Ninja didn't want him on the team because I believe it was like a communication thing that Ninja just didn't like. So, and then Ace was like, I like this kid more than you, get out of here. And then Ninja went on to Renegades to make his own team with Spartan, Stellar, and Victory X. And the fact that they were in the
leftovers.
Yeah, it was leftovers.
And they were teaming with Commonly, but then Commonly left for
Commonly
EG.
left for EG.
And so they grabbed Stellar
They
from
grabbed
Optic.
Stellar from Optic, yep. So that's really why I see this group as the Group A is the pool of death here. But so that's a little roster change.
Liquid, yeah, roster mania was fucking huge before that event. But Liquid Renegades was like the most hype match of the tournament, or of day one, I mean. And they played him, and everybody's like, "Oh, Game 5, like this is gonna be the closest series ever, and it's gonna be so exciting." And then Renegades just came out and shit on him 3-0. Like,
yep.
Like there was like an Eden Slayer where like APG killed himself twice with rockets, and like everybody was freaking out because like somebody fell off the map, and it was just like it was horrible. Liquid just got fucking railed.
Yeah, it was honestly crazy the way that really turned out, and freaking like the bottom two teams weren't able to go through because it's only the top four teams were able to go on to bracket play, and it was actually best of sevens for
Yeah.
finals.
But then also the crazy thing was that I'm pretty sure to get the second place spot in the group, I'm pretty sure Epsilon beat Renegades.
Let me see. Epsilon did.
Were they?
Yeah, Epsilon beat
They beat
Renegades
Renegades.
3-1.
Wait, were they in the same pool?
Yes, they were in the same pool.
So that was to get top two in the pool then. So Liquid and Renegades didn't even make it out.
Yep.
So the teams that made it out were CLG, EG. Oh, and talking about the
Renegades
the group
did
play,
make it out.
So they got beaten bracket play by Epsilon.
No, Epsilon didn't go through. It was Allegiance Renegades in Group A, and Group B was CLG EG. So
the only match
the
that
way
Epsilon won was against Renegades.
So I'm going to read you the map count real quick. Is the way that it went in Group A is Allegiance won 3-0 in their pool. Easy. Renegades went 1-2, Team Liquid went 1-2, and Epsilon went 1-2. It came down to the map count. So Renegades, since they beat Liquid 3-0, they went 5-6 in their map counts, whereas Liquid went 4-6. So they only beat them by 1, and then Epsilon went 3-7 in their map count. Because I believe like the games that they went against people, they got 3-0'd when they lost. Which I'm looking to double check. Yep. ALG 3-0'd them, and Team Liquid 3-0'd them, but Renegades got 3-1 by them. So.
Yeah. But the group play matchup between CLG and EG was also super hyped because obviously the whole lethal EG rivalry. And then they met in group play, and everybody's like, CLG is going to fucking shit on them. And then they kind of did. It was like they went out 2-0, and in the third map, it was like Plaza Strongholds, I think. And there was some issue where like EG stopped playing because they were like, oh, somebody's controller's messed up. We're going to get a replay. And the refs didn't think it qualified a replay. So EG just stopped playing and then realized too late that they had to keep playing. And so they gave up like the game and the series. And everybody's like, EG's fucked. Which set up the storyline for the rest of the tournament. But
so then
so
from there,
nothing really notable happened.
Yeah, the EU teams kind of got fucked. DT really didn't matter. Group A was really hyped as far as pool play goes for 3 teams, whereas like Group E was just about EG versus and it wasn't even really EG versus CLG. It was Lethal versus Snipe
Lethal
Down
versus EG.
I was thinking more of Snipe Down specifically because of the trash talk that was going over Twitter. Yeah. In that video.
And then Snipe Down made that video, was like, we were friends before, but I don't see that relationship continuing.
Yeah. Which Snipe Down is a interesting person as far as like winning.
We're not gonna get into that.
Dude, I wish Cole was here now.
Oh man.
Oh man. Alright, so we go into bracket play. It goes into semifinals and then finals. First place gets gold, second place gets silver, third place gets bronze. So semifinals has ALG versus EG and Renegades versus CLG. So
CLG, I remember shit on Renegades because it was a Kali flag and they capped twice in like the first minute, and Royal 2 had like an overkill where he like no-scoped Spartan for the last kill or some shit. Yeah. And Benson was like, oh my god.
And that's whenever it became the Royal 2 spot.
Exactly, yeah, that's where it became the Royal 2 spot. But so that happened. Renegades got fucked and they lost. And then it was EG versus ALG. I don't remember that series at all. I know EG won, but I don't remember that series at all.
The only
because
games that I
nobody gave
remember
like a second thought to Allegiance.
The only
like, fuck them.
The only games I remember with ALG are finals with Optic because they got railed. The Renegades game in Worlds, and then that's it. Those are the only games I remember. It's just not memorable. So we go into finals. Actually, before we go into finals, we'll talk about Renegades versus ALG. ALG 4-0s Renegades pretty convincingly.
In consolation for bronze.
Yeah, in consolation for bronze. And then we go into EG versus CLG grand finals for the gold medal.
Yeah. Which I think because they only played in group play and they didn't play in bracket play, it was only like a single best of 7. Like whoever won that won the event.
Yep, it was.
And so that series was fucking nuts. All right, I remember like the Eden
was.
Slayer. Everybody was hitting nasty snipes. Royal 2 was no scoping everything. Roy was no scoping everything. EG goes down 2-3 and has to play Plaza Strongholds game 6, and ended up like Box like clutched it at the end and got like 2 kills to save bottom middle or something to send it to a game 7.
Mm-hmm.
And then goes to game 7, regret TS. Fucking Snipe Down goes off. They win like 50-41 because Snakebite plays stupid with an overshield and ends up like not using it at all.
Yep.
And they lose 50-41. EG pulls off like the 6th upset. Snipe Down's like talking shit, and everybody's like super hyped. And I was super hyped at the time because I was still kind of an EG fan. I was like, fuck Lethal, he left us. But
and now he's on Optic and Clay sucks his dick. What?
Yeah, pretty much. But it was like super hype. And EG won, and it was like the unthinkable upset, and Commonly was just like there. He was like, I got a gold medal. I've never been to an event before. And
which good on him.
Hammy's
still a good player.
Oh no, yeah, he's fucking good. But that was like, they talk about it, and they said because they never ever beat CLG with that roster outside of that one match, like ever, never beat them.
Nope.
In anything, significant or not.
Whenever we get to the end of this, we're gonna mention something that you guys should really think about, that roster of CLG and then going into Optic Gaming. It's crazy, but we'll get to that later. So from here we go to regionals. There's in between there's a bunch of like last minute qualifiers. Optic Gaming is like struggling to get in there, and I think in the very last one,
qualifier,
yeah, they actually make
last
it.
Chance qualifier. Optic squeezed it out. Flamesword had like 28k on Twitch. Remember how hyped that was? Everybody was in Flames Twitch. Like everybody was there. It was like rooting on Optic. They had like 28k. That was like the most lit Vision episode ever. It was Maniac, Flame, Chaser, and Lifestyle. And they ended up clutching at the last chance qualifier to get the 16th seed. Yeah, it is a weird team, but they ended up getting the 16th seed to make it to regionals. So going to the regionals, it was the Columbus regionals. This is all NA, by the way. We're not covering anything outside of NA because we're not knowledgeable when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, notable teams, pretty much the same as before.
Except we had a new team.
Up Triggers Pound.
Yeah, Cloud actually.
Denial.
Yeah, Denial. So I'm looking
Contra Devin Hook Boo Boo.
So I'm looking at the groups right now. So the teams that were going in, Group A was Allegiance, Triggers Pound, Optic Gaming, and Dream
C9.
Team. Yeah, they became C9. So we're looking at regionals right now. Yeah. I believe
NA regionals.
Yes, we are, because it shows Denial getting what they replaced second. So talking about Group A, what people really wanted, but like I was almost gonna be like upset if I had this conversation with Cole. I was gonna almost be upset if Optic made it to Worlds, because like yeah, they worked really hard at the end, but at the beginning they didn't put much time into getting there. You know, it was in these last chance qualifiers that they were like, all right, let's actually start playing now. But like,
that's really something we should get into. But
I'm still an Optic fanboy. They got in there, but they ended up losing 1-2 in their pool. Triggers Pound ends up winning. I know that the
Dream Team, which was the same team from regionals. I remember because it was on Vision and we watched it, but they played Triggers Pound first, which obviously Assault left their team to go to Triggers Pound, which was like Hysteria and Denoxide and Cloud, I think.
Was.
And they played and got 3-1s, I think, and then they played Dream Team and kind of shit on them, which was the same roster from X Games. And then they played Allegiance, and Allegiance just kind of mopped the floor with them.
Yes. So. And then we get into Pool B, or Group B, which was CLG, Noble Esports, Elevate, Overdrive. Easy wins for CLG, like.
And to cover it though, one of the teams that nobody like gave a second thought about was Noble, which became the Elevated Wildcats, which was Calm Mentality, who I think is just known as Calm now. Rain, Penguin, and
Swiftkill.
Swiftkill, thank you. And nobody like cared about them. And obviously, aside from Swiftkill and Calm, sort of, they were like unknowns.
Yeah.
Like
No
nobody
one,
was.
no one
They
knew
were like,
about Rain
oh,
or
fuck
Penguin.
those guys are not winning. And obviously we know them now because they're top pros. But they ended up having like one of the best series I've ever seen against Allegiance, and it went to like a game 7, and it was like there was like a 199 strongholds or something. But anyway, yeah. Focusing on the groups, I think I like who were the other notable teams?
All right,
that went to
so groups.
the Elevate team.
I want to talk about Group C. Actually, these next two groups are really good, but I'm going to skip Group C because I feel like there's going to be a lot to talk about and go to Group D, which is Liquid, Renegades, Astro Authority, and Soar Gaming. So, Liquid.
Astral and Soar got shit on.
Yeah, Liquid and Renegades being in the same pool. Liquid actually beats Renegades in their game because and I believe they win 3-0 because I'm looking at the map count and they go 9-0 map count and they win 3-0 in their pool. So very,
Yeah,
very,
3-0.
very dominant.
I remember that because that team, like that Liquid lineup, for whatever reason, after X Games was god tier.
Yeah.
They were like super good. They were beating everybody online, and then did really well at regionals until the Denial series, which we'll talk about.
And then we'll go to Group C, which gets me a little sad. We have EG, Denial, Envious, Winterfox. No one was looking at Winterfox. The main two that we're really looking at, like going into the event, because no one really cared about Denial. But the story
EG
was EG Envy, and the reason that we looked at Envy is because it had
Ola
Miquin,
And
Tuger, and who was their last one? I think it was Arcanum.
Yeah, it was Arcanum.
And this is the first world championship, and Tuger and Ola don't get in it. And those are household names in Halo esports, and they
obviously
they
the
don't
goat, the
make
wizard, and yeah.
And
But I remember they
after
played
this-
EG first, and they won first map against EG, and I was like, oh, this is fucking great.
and then
They just got 3-0'd after that, and I was like, God, man, because like we talk about Envy now being sort of the villains of the scene in a way because of Snipe Down. Or I don't know if villain is the correct term, but
rival.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But love Ola, pretty much. And then obviously Tuger's on the team, and you want to see Tuger do well just because you're like how high can the win count get,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, Envy ended up not making it in, which was like shitty.
EG wins their pool, which everyone kind of figured, and then Denial, who had Hugh on the squad at the time. It was Hugh, Pedevinator, Contra, and Boo
Contra and Boo Boo.
So Boo Boo and Hugh definitely being standout players at the event.
Contra too.
Contra too.
Contra had a good
Pedevinator was
event.
kind of like meh. He did his job
He was
basically.
there.
And
well, he didn't fucking have to do anything.
and coach alumni, which people started looking at as well. The coaches here, you know, Hook being a COD player, switching over to Halo.
That was like his first like major event as a Halo player,
It was.
and like I didn't even going into the weekend because I hadn't paid that much attention to the online qualifiers as much as I should have. But going into that weekend, Hook had not played at a major Halo LAN event, and I just like it was weird because I just watched him in the grand finals of the MLG World Championship in Advanced Warfare, and this was like 2 months after that, and I was like, oh my god.
What are you doing here? What are you doing?
And so everybody's like, oh, he came from COD, and then I don't know what pool play wasn't super eventful, was it? I think it was bracket play where shit got interesting.
The only thing that was interesting about pool play was Group C, seeing Envy with Ogre 2 and
not qualify.
Yeah, and that was a sad day.
Bracket
Ogre
play.
2.
Let's talk about bracket play though.
Ogre 2 retires after that. But yeah, let's get into bracket play.
No, he did.
Do you? I thought he retired after.
Nope.
When was it?
Played with Denial.
He played with Denial?
He was part of the Denial team. I don't remember the specific roster, but he played with the Denial team at the summer qualifier for season 1, and they didn't qualify, so he retired after that.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, that's not important.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So, first match that we're going to talk about, and since Clay memorizes everything, he's going to be talking about this mostly, is ALG versus Noble. Clay, do you know the series count?
Yep. It was 4-3.
No.
Allegiance.
Best of 5s.
Was it best of 5?
Yeah, these are best of 5s.
What?
It was best of 7 until finals. Actually, it didn't become best of 5s until semis. So quarterfinals was bracket play, and then semis was best of 7s, and the finals was best of 7s. That's really weird.
They played in semis though.
Who? Allegiance?
Fuck.
Allegiance did.
I have this whole thing fucked up in my head then. Yeah, anyway, moral of the story, holy shit. It was a super close series.
They won 3-1.
Like, super close. The games, man.
Okay.
Listen to me, the games
Alright.
were super close. Let me look this up, alright? Hang on.
I remember the Denial
Hopefully
series.
I don't have this whole thing up in my head.
Okay, so
Denial Liquid.
So I'm gonna talk about the Denial Liquid game. Goes to game 5.
Oh
Denial
Eden
is
Flare.
Hugh hits that shot. I think it was off of Ace. Was it off of Ace?
It doesn't matter who.
It doesn't matter.
He
is at Blue Bend, and he no scopes a guy off of.
Snipes 2 people, and then fucking last guy's top cat. It's like 49-31. Ghost and Puckett are casting, and they're like, nah, he's not. He's good. Oh my god,
he did it. It's crazy. He hits that shot, and we're like, oh no, you can't do that. I remember talking to Cole, and he was like, that wasn't that impressive. Like afterwards, he was like, yeah, it was like a good shot, but it wasn't that impressive. I was like, you hit that shot, and you tell me that wasn't impressive. You wouldn't shit your
game
pants.
5
in a
for
game
the last
5.
kill.
Yeah, and like he's like he just lined up
As
the
I
no
was about to
scope,
take
but
that
that's
shot,
a hard
I would
shot
be
to
like-
take.
Not only is that a hard shot to take, but I would like, if I was doing that, I would be like, in the back of my head, I would be like, oh my god, this is for the last kill. Oh my god, this is game 5. Oh my god, this is to qualify for the world championship. Oh my god.
Oh my god, I'm not gonna get DFR'd.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That would be in the back of my head, and then I would just choke completely.
And then I'd swipe up for no fucking reason. We have EG Triggers Pound, they get 3-0'd. Renegade CLG, they get 3-0'd.
Renegades got 3-0'd and Triggers Pound got 3-0'd.
Yeah.
In case you
in case you misunderstand that. So semifinals
ALG
we have
Denial.
another game, another last game. The series going to the last game. The last one was a best of 5. Now this is game 7.
Semis became best of 7s. Yeah.
Yep.
LG played Denial. Game 7. Plaza TS. Fucking. I think it was Contra who set up in blue, and Allegiance just like kept like running into him, and
Yep.
he sniped like 3 or 4 people, and the crowd was chanting Hook, and it was great. And then fucking Denial won, and it was so hype because everybody's like, "Oh my god, Hook is back!" Or well, he's here because he was never here before, but he's here now.
Yep. We have CLG.
And then EG played CLG, and
They got
fucking bodied. Hashtag problem.
They got
Like that wasn't even like it wasn't even close. Like you can have 4. The games are close. They weren't close at all.
Yeah.
But finals, CLG Denial, and everybody's like Denial. And then they played, and like I don't remember the maps that CLG won because they were boring, but the maps that Denial won, where I think they were both strongholds. I think they won Empire Strongholds and Plaza Strongholds were the 2 maps that they won. I remember the Empire Strongholds for sure because Hook grabbed like skill gap or storm rifle, clutched it in 3 times, 4 people and win. But then the beginning of the Plaza Strongholds game, Contra just like casually ninjas Royal 2, like on camera, and you see him turn, he's like fucked, and the crowd goes nuts, and he's like capping a stronghold, sitting still. Royal 2 comes up behind him, and he just ninjas him, and he's like fucked, and then it's like it just keeps going, and everybody's like, oh my god, Denial's gonna win, and long story short, they didn't, but still, it was like super close. It was 4-2, and it was like a really hype series.
It really was.
So that was regionals. Denial lost. So Denial got seconds. Top 2 finished for Hook. Hashtag the curse. Not anymore, but CLG won. Everybody's like, CLG is going to win the whole fucking thing. Teams that qualified were Allegiance, Triggers Pound, which became C9, EG Denial, CLG Noble, which became the Elevate Wildcats, and then Liquid Renegades. And they all qualified for Worlds through the NA qualifier.
Yep. So, going into Worlds now, I don't think there could have been any roster changes. Actually,
No,
there weren't, right?
Yeah, well, because all the teams that qualified were like they had to stick together.
All right, so we're going into the groups again. Group A has Team Liquid, Team Allegiance, Excel Esports, and Chosen Squad, which Liquid again wins their pool 3-0, showing a dominating performance.
That Liquid's world team was really good until bracket play.
Hey, remember how I'll talk about
YY thing on Plaza.
It makes me so mad. You know what makes me so mad about this team is that they do really well day one, and then they go into bracket and they shit the bed.
They are dominant until game 5
straight
against
ripping.
Denial every single time.
I.e. straight ripping. Because it's
Low
the same
3-0
team.
lead. We'll talk about that. Yeah. No, it's the exact same team. Exactly.
Yeah.
To be honest, nothing out of the ordinary happened in any of the groups.
Except
all of the European teams lost.
Nope.
Cloud9 was
wrong.
not that good. All of the European teams except for Epsilon, because Epsilon was EU God Squad at the time.
And then people were like, "Oh my God, Epsilon's gonna beat CLG because they took one map off of them." And then CLG was like, "Nah, you're done. You're done. Get out of here." Renegades wins their pool 3-0, beating EG. And
yeah, that was the upset.
that
we were talking about.
And Denial loses one game against, I have to guess that it's Elevate.
Yeah, because that Elevate team was the Noble team from before, which was Tom,
Rain, Swiftkill,
Rain, and Pink.
Yep. So nothing out of the ordinary, other than Cloud9 kind of shit in the bed, and Epsilon goes forward, being the only EU team to make it.
They weren't even that good anyway.
So now we go into bracket play. All this is best of 5s until semis, just like the last event. And we have first it's Elevate versus Epsilon. Epsilon just gets mopped.
Nothing interesting happened there.
Yeah. And then we have Renegades versus ALG, where Renegades had a 2-0 lead.
Oh my god.
And then they
100-0'd them in the Empire Strongholds. 100-0, go up 2-0, and then Game 3 Kali Flag, go up 2-0 in the flag. Get comebacked on. I don't remember the fourth map. Plaza TS. And then Nated has like an incredible performance, and they win in Game 5 after being down 2-0 and 2-0 in the game that they were down 2-0 in.
Man,
it was nuts.
And I'm tilted, dog. I'm tilted.
Yeah, it was actually an incredible match. EG played CLG and EG got shit on and they lost.
And Lethal had his best performance in his opinion.
Yeah.
And I think so too. He had a dominating performance against EG in that game.
Well, EG lost in pool play, which gave them the match against CLG, and after that they were like, yeah, we fucked ourselves.
Yeah. And then we have Team Liquid versus Denial, and Denial again bringing it to Game 5, and then just beating
also
Team
a pretty
Liquid.
hype match.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it came down to the wire because that was the Ace YY thing, where he kept like looking for people on Plaza in Game 5, and then he kept hitting YY right as people walked into the scope.
Yep.
And so the crowd was just like going nuts, and everybody's like, "What the fuck is happening?" And then Liquid ended up choking, and they lost, and that was hype. And then there was that one Kali play by Boo where he had like the double no scope, and then at the end of the game, they had like a 2-1 lead or something, and then Boo goes and grabs the other team's flag and just goes and sits back flag like in their base with their own flag, and nobody found him. And then that's how they won that. So,
Semis. Elevate versus EG, or Elevate versus ALG, sorry. And then...
I think that might be the Nuts series that I was thinking about. I don't even fucking know.
Elevate put on... I think it was... That's whenever Penguin
that series was
came...
super close.
Yeah, people, like, noticed Penguin that series. It was a 4-2 win in ALG's favor, but, like... That was a series where people were like, "Oh my God,
Super
Penguin's a
close games,
god."
super close games.
Yeah.
Yeah. CLG Denial in the other part of the bracket. I don't remember that match at all.
Me neither.
CLG 1-4-2, so there had to be some close games, but I don't remember that match at all. Really.
And then
finals,
finals,
boring as fuck.
Like
CLG literally world starred them. They played one Kali flag where it was tied 1-1, and then they went to a replay, and then CLG just 3-0'd them. And then after that, they won 4-0, and it was so boring.
And then Nada gets MVP chosen by the people,
Fan
even though
vote.
I think that
Yeah.
Snakebite or 2 should have gotten it. Definitely think that Snakebite should have gotten MVP because he did really well. But that's championship. And then CLG goes
After
on.
that, of course, yeah.
CLG wins $1 million.
Oh yeah, it was great. BTH. But after that, there was a break, and then immediate shitstorm of roster changes.
And for that, we are going to get into that probably in the next one, because we're running some time here. Like for the Skype call, it says hour. Let me see how long the recording's been going.
Probably 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's been going on for 40 minutes. So that's going to conclude episode 1 of ComCube. We might have someone on here for the next one. Actually, I think it's just going to be... It might be me and Clay again. So that's going to be it for this episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed. We're going to pick up after HWC 2016, and then we're going to continue on until present day. So
yeah, stay tuned for the shitstorm.
Yeah, because it gets...
Shit hits the fan after Worlds.
It gets crazy.
It's nuts.
It really does. Alright, so like I said at the beginning, check out Clay's channel. Link will be in the description down below.
like, comment, subscribe.
Kill yourself. Never mind. His link won't be in the description below. Neither will his Twitch.
Damn it.
Fuck this guy. Unsub to him if you're already subbed to him. And
don't say that. People are actually gonna do it.
Don't do that. Kappa.
Kapap.
See you guys in the next one.